everyone, and welcome to this video about multiple communicators. Now, there was a student of mine that asked me about this. They asked me, well, how do you work with multiple communicators? And it's very common that when we're dealing with mediumship, that we end up getting more and more communicators, and how we find that we are really interacting with the spirit world, but not just one spirit, but there'll be more spirits at the same time. So really, it's very common for this to happen in our mediumship development. When the spirit world feel that we are ready to work with more than one communicator, we will notice that there will be an influx of more and more people wanting to communicate at the same time. And it can be confusing to people in the beginning. So when you've got more communicators coming through at the same time, it can be confusing. You need to work out how to work it. How are you going to bring through the information? And I'm sure there's many of you out there that have been giving a reading, and then some of the information was with one person in the spirit world, and the rest was with someone else. And it can get into a mess. Well, there is a way, and there are different ways of working with the spirit world, but working with them in a way where you can really work well with multiple communicators. There's a few tips I can give you to practice at home to help perceive and understand how different communicators are. I said in the last one of my last videos that I did, that if you were going to sit in the power at home and you're going to invite different spirit people to come and join you, and recognize, okay, that's my grandmother, that's this person, that's my grandfather, that's this. To recognize them in your aura is opening up and saying, okay, then you can really sort of feel who is where. That in itself prepares you at home for when you actually do give a reading or you're doing a demonstration and you're going to be working with multiple communicators. That's what can happen. So it's great to have you here. If you're enjoying my channel, please give me a like. If you're enjoying this video, give me a like and feel free to subscribe. It's lovely to have you with me. Now, as we're working with multiple communicators, in the beginning, like I said, it can be a mess. So it's about becoming the director, as you can say, of what's going on. You say, okay, hold on a minute. This person's saying this, that person's saying that, this person's saying that in the spirit world. So you take control of what's going on in the communication. And to do that, you just need to become aware of who's who as quickly as possible. And you'll find that if you're giving a lot of information, let's say you were giving a lot of information about a mother, and she was like, she was lovely and she loved her hair done in a certain way, she wore certain perfumes and all that sort of thing. And suddenly you started getting information to do with carpentry. And you probably ask, did she do anything with carpentry? And they'll probably say no. I said, would you understand a gentleman in the spirit world that did the carpentry connecting to her? Yes. And then just when you mentioned that one piece of evidence to carpentry, put it on the other side. So if you're communicating with the mother on this side and you've got a gentleman joining with carpentry, put them on the other side. You can imagine to split up the energy where you have the mother standing on this side and you maybe have the father or a grandfather or a grandmother standing on this side. And in that way, you're splitting them up for yourself, so that you can feel when you're leaning into this side, you'll be bringing information about mother. And when you're leaning into this side, you'll be bringing in information about the other communicator who was doing the carpentry. Now, when you recognize that you get you're getting lots of yeses in the beginning of a contact, like with the mother, and you get and all of a sudden you get a no, just feel into that. Where is the information coming from? is it coming from someone else from the spirit world? And if it is, then you know, okay, then you can invite them in or just feel with them in this way. I have had many one-to-one readings with people where I've had at least 4 or 5 different family members come through, and it's really knowing who's knowing. And if anyone knows about the Dutch culture, they love to speak, and they all like to speak through each other. So you'll have someone saying this, and then someone will say that, and someone will say this. And even being in a room with living people, trying to understand all those people speaking at the same time is difficult. And it's the same when you're working with multiple communicators. So really what you've got to do is take charge. Say, okay, could you speak one at a time, please? Let me just speak to Mother right now. Okay, now I'm speaking to the person that feels like Father that did the carpentry. Okay, so then you start talking about that. And when you keep going in that way and splitting it up, you'll find your own way of working with multiple communicators. Now, you can have them on either side. I have had before, I've had mother on one side, I've had father on the other side, I've had grandfather of father's side behind him, I've had grandmother on mother's side behind her, and this is a way that you can build it up. I mean, this is just, let's put it this way, this is my way of working. Your way may be different, but it's finding a way where you can say you recognize where the energy is coming from. Is it coming from father's side? Is it coming from mother's side? And in that way, it starts to tighten up your mediumship and make it look more professional, and also come across more professional when you're working. So working with multiple communicators is not just about bringing a little bit of evidence about mum and then a little bit of evidence about father and then a little bit of evidence about the next one, because what you're doing is it's like you're going into a sweet shop and you're just taking little nibbles of stuff. You're really there to give the sitter who's come to visit you the 3-course meal, which is they really come for that connection with their loved ones. So when you bring through mother and you notice there's another person there, you could say to them, okay, you understand the gentleman working with carpentry. Okay, I'm just going to keep this gentleman here. I will speak to him in a minute, but I'm still working with mother. So you may want to finish what you're talking about, mother, but when you trust your intuition, that will be the right way to go. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to continue with mother. I'm going to bring that information across, and then I'm going to join with the gentleman and bring forward more about his carpentry and more about the stuff that he'd done within his life. He was a father figure. Okay, so there would have been more information there. So just to give you some ideas of picture, so if you were bringing through mother and suddenly a father figure came in that was working with carpentry, you can either make them wait, you've already split them up and put them onto 2 sides, or you could say to them, I'll work a little bit with mother, and then I'll work a little bit with the father, then I'll work a little bit of mother, and then I'll work a little bit of father. And I work a lot like this when I do get different communicators as well. It's very well to do it, but one thing to remember is you really need to bring not only the evidence, but there needs to be that spark of spirit within them as well, that it really brings through and shines through the essence of who's there. So they're not just information, it's really bringing through the essence of the communicator as well. So yeah, I hope this has been good for you, and I hope you can understand that if you're bringing through mother, father, you can get a reference at home where you say, okay, I want to know how it feels everyone on mother's side. So you've got mother, your mother's sister, you've got grandmother, you've got grandmother's sister, you've got grandfather, you've got the uncles, every person on mother's side. You may want to just feel them on this side. That would make it easier for you to work with multiple communicators on one side, and the same on father's side. You may have father, then you have father's father, then you have the uncles connecting to that side. And in that way, working in that way, the spirit world will learn how you work. And it's really, I mean, I'm choosing these sides just to do this video. I mean, you may have it the other way around. That's perfectly fine. But to work with multiple communicators, it's really, you're becoming the director of the communication, where you really do take charge. Because if you don't, what happens is you'll get a little bit of information about the mother, and then you get some information about this, and you say, I don't know what's going on. You might get confused. You'll get yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, 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 yes. And you'll think there's something going on. So whenever you get in a communication, this is what I recognize a lot, is when you're getting a lot of yeses with one communicator and suddenly you get a no, and then you get another no, then you may feel, oh, there may be someone else there. And it's just feeling in the energy around you. But normally when we connect to the spirit world, we connect behind ourselves and backwards, and we can pick them up very easily that way. And that's the most purest way of bringing them through from the spirit world. But it's learning to feel that little bit wider. Where is the information coming from? And how do I work with that information? Because really the reason is that more communicators can come through in a private sitting is that they may all want to add something to the message, and they may all want to add something to the communication that can really bring not only the information that they need, but the healing they need within inside themselves. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like. And if you've got any more questions, feel free to write them in the comments. It's been lovely to have you with me. It's great to be back, and it's good to share this knowledge. But yeah, feel free to subscribe, and feel free to write any questions that you're interested in about mediumship. I am keeping a list of these questions, so if I haven't answered your question yet, I am going through and writing them all down so that I can get them all done in these YouTube videos for you. So I hope you have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you the next time on another question that I'm going to answer for you on this YouTube channel. Thank you very much.